Welcome to POL Classics. Be sure to check out the best of POL from over the years. It's at its most popular day and time, and guess what? It's only on WNEP+.
WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
We'll tie up a fly and head to the White Deer Creek. And we've got a shocking story for you from Wayne County. Plus, we'll give wildlife a helping hand.
If you're ready to let alive, Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Ken Hunter and I'm here with Don Jacobs.
Good evening.
Jake, here we are between two holidays.
Between two eating fests,
Well,
really.
yeah, I've been putting on the feed bag. I'm sure we all have, you know. It's
Did you have your traditional like ham and kielbasa? Do you do that?
No,
or what do you
we
do?
don't do the ham and kielbasa. We do the turkey stuff, of course,
okay.
at Christmas,
Right.
and then we do the typical sauerkraut. By the way, your sauerkraut, which is fantastic.
Well, my parents and I made it.
Yeah, love
this
that.
time.
But, you know, that sort of thing, pretty traditional stuff. But we've been feeding real well.
Right.
A lot of people have concerns about wildlife at this time of year.
And you know what? There is a major concern out there because there's not a lot of food, period, in some of the woods to support the deer and the wildlife. So what happens is an organization gets together like the Game Feeders out in Lycoming County. Steve Berger's the president. He invited us last January to check out his organization and how he helps feed wildlife.
What we do is we sell a membership for $3 throughout the months, and we have a corn feeding in January and February. We give out roughly 4 feedings, which approximately get about a bushel and a half of corn. We get roughly 400 or 500 people to come to this location on any given Saturday and pick up corn, and they go out and place it in a feeder wherever they'd like. It keeps us going. We have a total of 4 feeding locations today. We have one at Consolidated Sportsman's Club out 87. We have one in Toombs Run up near Waterville. We have one here in Trout Run, and we also have one in Cascade. Today in Trout Run, we expect about 6 tons of corn to be shoveled out to people. Total for the year, we're looking probably around roughly 45 tons of corn this year between all 4 locations that we'll give.
And that was purchased through memberships?
That was purchased through memberships, just from membership drives. Hasn't changed much since 1960 when we were founded. It started out as $1. Now the membership now is $3.
And again, the membership gets you what?
4 feedings. It'll get you roughly 41 raffles on a raffle ticket, a button badge, and a good time, and a lot of friends. In 1960, my grandfather up in Steam Valley found 8 dead turkeys and a couple deer. And him and a few guys got together and they decided to start the Wild Game Feeders Association. Back then, they had the help of the Game Commission. They coincided and worked very well at the Game Commission. And at the time, we had 5,000 members back in 1960. The last few years, we started to dwindle off. Our members were getting older. Some of them in their 70s and 80s. They just couldn't do it anymore. I got a phone call and they told me that the Game Feeders was ready to dissolve, and would I like to get involved? Well, since I became president 3 years ago, we went from roughly 400 memberships to about 1,400 memberships. So we're coming back, and we're getting a lot more people involved, and we're having a good time. We're helping the animals in the cause.
You lost one of your senior members. Tell me about him.
We lost one of our members. He was 93. He was with us right from the beginning. His name was Nick Casale. He's a valued member. We're going to miss him. All 3 of my sons will be here. My wife will be here. Other men's sons will be here. A lot of families will be here. You'll find that most of the people come here are family. We get a lot of hunting clubs that come here. 8 to 80 years old, people are here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to give the game a little bit of boost through these winter months. We're not out to save any large amounts of wild game. What our goal is to make sure that these final couple weeks in the woods that there's food. We have a lot of snow here right now, and underneath that snow is roughly 3 or 4 inches of solid ice. And it's hard for a deer, a turkey, a squirrel to get through. And what our goal is to keep a few animals alive. We're not out to do any whitetail management or anything like that. We just want to give the animals a little something to help them make it through the hard time. We know it's not nutritional, a good nutritional value, but like I said before, it is something to help them make it through the last couple weeks or last month or two of winter. Any food is better than no food. That's our basic, we want to keep what we have alive.
And this isn't the Deer Feeders Association.
No.
This is a wild game.
This is wild game feeders. We feed everything from turkey, deer, squirrel, chipmunks, birds, pretty much anything that'll eat the corn.
Now, where are these going?
To Drums in Luzerne County.
You came all the way up here?
Yeah.
Are you a member of this club, too?
My father-in-law is. So we've been doing it for probably, how long have we been married? 6 years now. So we've been doing it for like
And you
6
made
years.
it a family affair.
Yeah. We drive up and see the mother and father-in-law and get our corn and have a good weekend.
Most of the people have feeders on their property. They'll go out and put it in their feeders. We have quite a few hunting clubs that come out. They take it up into their clubs and feed it. We don't do any feeding on state property. Everything that we do is on a private property basis, homeowners, different hunting clubs and stuff like that.
I think if you check your watch, it is exactly 11 o'clock.
Exactly 11 o'clock and we went through 6 tons of corn.
Unbelievable. Look at that. Right down to the last bag. Look at that.
Until 2004, that's the final shovel.
Nice job. That's incredible. The Game Feeders Association out there in Lycoming County. Steve Berger, you are one heck of an incredible organizer, and keep up the good work. And by the way, if you want more information on that group, they are on our website under contacts, Game Feeders Association. They even have a website.
It looks like a great organization. They're doing a great thing there.
Hey, what better to do in
Yeah.
February and March, but get out there and throw a little bit of feed out there.
Good deal. Well, listen, don't go away because we'll be right back after this break.
We'll have even more POL Classics on WNEP Plus right after this. And happy holidays, everyone. And of course, we are here in the Pennsylvania Outdoor Life cabin between the holidays, between Christmas and New Year's. You know, I feel like I don't do any exercise for these 2 weeks. All you do is you go from one feeding trough
Two
to the
problems.
next.
Yeah, no exercise and a whole lot of eating.
And a lot, yeah.
We're all running off somewhere to do something about
And
it.
I can't wait for the spring. We got turkey hunting and some trout fishing. I can't wait for that time of the year.
Speaking of spring, I know you hardly think about trout fishing at a time like this with all that hard water out there. But you know what? We're going to take a look back. I went out with my friend Doug Zahner. We tied some flies, did a little trout fishing. Let's see how that program goes. Doug, thanks for the opportunity. And what are we going to tie first here?
Well, today we're going to tie one of the first things we're going to start with is a Quill Gordon nymph. First thing I do is I take a Mustad 3906B. It's my hook that I use for that, size 12. First thing you do with this fly is you put this on the tail, or on the bend of the hook in the back.
You're just wrapping like
Just wrapping on.
foundation at the back
Correct.
base.
Then you take your scissors and clip off the excess. I take a few strands of ringneck feather. I like the real dark brown, and you put that on for the tail. You wrap the tail in, a couple wraps, and bring your thread back to the back of the hook. Then you trim your excess. Okay, so what I use is a little wax, and I have a cotton ball to develop a foundation here.
Why the wax, Doug? I know a lot of us use that, but some people may not understand the purpose of that.
The purpose of the wax is to keep the the fibers of whatever material, be it rabbit fur or synthetics, sticking to the thread. And in this case, I'm actually using a little cotton just to develop a little base for the lead to actually grip onto instead of the bare hook. I always keep a good quarter of an inch away with this because I want a nice head for my finished
You don't
product.
want to crowd it. I've
don't want
seen
to crowd
fly tires get to the end and they're really crowded up there at the head.
That's right.
Yeah.
I take this really fine lead. Bring your thread to the front of the cotton, and then you just wrap overhand, or some people call it palmering, like you would a hackle. The next step I like to do is I like to wrap the lead. I like to put a lot of wraps of the thread on there to kind of secure the lead, because the next step I'm going to mush, I would like to say, the lead to form the flatter body of the nymph.
Okay.
All right, next thing, I take my little pliers and I'm going to flatten that body out to give it the nymphal form. Just take a little piece of dubbing and you just dab that on your thread. Next thing is I like to use my thumb and my pointy finger, and I work that into the thread. Then you go ahead and apply that to the body. Now I'm going to do the wing casing. So you tie your turkey feather on, and then I'm going right back to the dubbing. And we're going to finish to the front of the eye of the hook, leaving enough room for the legs and the eye of the hook. Now for the final stage of this fly is actually bringing this wing casing over top of this nymph. And then all you're going to do is finish off with the head of the nymph. And then here I am going to whip finish this because it's all done. Little head cement. There's your finished product.
Now that Doug has showed us how a fly is tied, we decided to visit White Deer Creek in Union County to try our luck. It didn't take long for me to hook into this one. One after another, the brookies gobbled up whatever it was that I was throwing at them. All right, this one hit it deep. I'm in a nice deep pocket right here. It swirls around the bank over there by that root. And this guy smacked it again. This is on that bead head. It's another brookie, pretty decent brookie. Right there. Stock brookie, I'm sure of that. There you go. This pool was holding many fish, and I just couldn't keep it all to myself. There we go. Hey, Doug, come on up here and join me. A lot of fish in here. Come on up. Okay, that's that same style of nymphing that Doug's doing down there. I just left it fall down, hold the rod tip high. Just hold the rod tip high and feel for a twitch. Another nice brookie. Oops, there we go, Phil. Shortly after, Doug found out that persistence pays off.
Ah, nice little brookie. I'm off the schneid.
Well, I want to thank Doug Zahner for joining me on that trip and for the great tips on tying flies. And Jake, this is the time of the year when I try to get a little of that done. Not before Christmas,
right?
After Christmas. Things slow down a little bit so I can do a little fly tying.
And what did you like? Follow the stocking truck that day that you
just
slammed the trout
right,
so good?
Hit the right spot that day, and boy, as soon as I got into a bunch of them there, Doug come up and join me, and we both hammered them. So
honest to God, that was a great story.
Yeah,
you taking me there this year?
Oh, taking you
To that spot?
Well, I don't know if I'll take you to that spot, but we'll take you somewhere.
Take me to a hot spot, though.
We will. We'll
All
go
right.
up there and hit that again.
All right, and we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about where the trout may be going after they're stocked. So stick around. POL Classic, we'll have much more of it on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. We've been talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that's trout fishing. And Jake, while we're on the subject of trout, there's some interesting research going on over on the Dyeberry Creek.
And some other streams, too. They're trying to figure out when they put the trout in there, what happens to them?
And that's a good question.
It is a good question. And what happens to them is they run for cover. Some go upstream, some go downstream. Dave Arnold from the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission called us and asked us over as they electroshocked the Dyeberry Creek right after they stocked it.
We're looking to solve a problem of mass migration of fish. We'd put the fish in the preseason stockings and they'd migrate out in as little as 24 hours at times. And reports from the fishermen, opening day catch reports that haven't caught a fish or haven't seen a fish, led us to this point. Some of our own observations would indicate the fish are moving and the lack of the catch by the fishermen. So we have our biologists here from Pleasant Gap, from Monroe County, Luzerne, and Wayne County to try and solve the problem today.
Is it a good story for fishermen to hear that they're being heard?
Absolutely, their opinion counts. If the fishermen didn't let us know, we'd have no idea, or we'd find out a lot later. Now, this has been going on for 3, 4, maybe 5 years now.
3 or 4 primes. Does it on this one?
Yeah. All right.
Is an electric backpack, puts electricity into the water, and we're using AC, alternating current, which basically numbs the fish. Because of the colder water, the fish move slower, so they're a little bit harder to catch because they'll tend to stay where they are. But when they start moving, it stuns them and it allows us to net them. And then we look at the fish. And for this stream, the Oswego fish are freestone. They're marked with a left pectoral fin clip, which is like the shoulder fin on the fish, clipped off a little bit. And if they're from Benner Springs, it's the right pectoral. This year we decided that we'd stock brook browns and rainbows, because all the years before it was always brook trout. And we also separated in each stream, mixed it 50-50, 50% from a freestone hatchery in Oswego, and 50% of the species of each individual brook brown and rainbow trout species from Benner Springs, which is a limestone hatchery, to see which one maybe is the freestone hatchery is not, doing well in there. Because what happens is in limestoner, because they're in a high calcium carbonate water, they retain more calcium. And when they get into the freestone streams, it's stripped out of their body, but they have a greater quantity to lose than a freestone raised trout. And when they get depleted of calcium, it could cause them to leave. What we're looking for is these fish that were stocked in this section, brooks, browns, and rainbows, were stocked from Oswego Fish Hatchery, which is a freestone hatchery. The pelvic fin was clipped, which is this fin right here. These are the pectorals. This is the pelvic. And this indicates that it's a right pectoral, a right pelvic clip, so that means it's from Oswego Hatchery. If it was from Benner Springs Hatchery, it would have had the left pelvic fin clip, and that's a freestone hatchery. Right. And these were stocked on the 8th.
2 days before we're doing this.
Right.
Okay.
And they've been documented according to the fishermen. They would come in and look in the holes and not see them there at night, the same night or the next day. So we know, there are here. I expected to find more in this hole, but.
Rainbow right.
Wow.
Brook right.
We found that in some of the other waters where this has happened. This isn't, it's not typical, but it has happened in other areas where the trout pre-season all of a sudden just started leaving. Same hatchery being stocked, water quality is basically, okay. But as you saw on the other site,
might be more habitat where they were all hanging in and tight along the banks. They weren't out in the center of the stream where a lot of people would be fishing. So, but we did, you know, we got mostly browns and rainbows down there and some brooks. And the brooks were from the freestone hatchery. And the browns and rainbows were from Benner Springs, which is the limestone hatchery.
Brook, right? Rainbow, left? Brown, right?
Hopefully we're going to find our answer. If not, we're going to, you know, think about it and maybe try something. We don't want to stop the preseason stocking. That's like the last thing we want to do. Because there's no sense in for us to be stocking a water that's not going to hold them. In season's fine. The fishermen catch them, but the pre-season is the rough time period.
And Dave Koneski and Dave Arnold of the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, thank you for including us on that research. It continues, Ken. They don't have all the answers, and this spring they promised us that we can get back together with them and at least let people know what they've found so far. So it's still going on.
Intriguing subject. I'm looking forward to some of the results when they finally get them. Well, listen, don't go away. We're going to be right back after this short commercial break. Jake, we've already got some great new products to give away for this product giveaway. Some knives came in. We'll hold that little secret for a while, but some great new stuff.
And fishing gear, everything.
Oh,
so the closet is full, and we'll be getting ready to do that. Tell me, what do you do for New Year's?
Well, we'll probably relax a little bit, eat, watch football. I mean, what does everybody do?
That's right.
I would like to get out, though, and try out a new pair of snowshoes.
Well, and me too.
I plan on doing that.
Well, let's invite Brian, the cameraman, along with us.
We'll all go.
We'll
Let's do a little snowshoeing. That might make a good story.
Sounds like a great story. Well, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Sure.
And to everybody out there, and including all of our production staff behind the scenes, we like to say to everybody, Happy New Year.
And thank you.
And thank you for watching and making 2003 a very successful year. On behalf of everybody here at Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, enjoy the great outdoors and Happy New Year.
And so long.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us for a look back at POL Classics. Now I'm going to invite you to join us every Sunday night at 6:30 on WNEP+.